Every 73 seconds, an American is sexually assaulted. In 2006, Tarana Burke created the Me Too movement after hearing the story of a young girl being sexually assaulted. This program eventually died out due to lack of media awareness. On October 15, 2017, Alyssa Milano sent out a tweet for others to share their story of being sexually assaulted and to use #MeToo. This tweet came 10 days after the New York Times published an article on Harvey Weinstein's sexual assault allegations. My research question is, how does the media portray celebrities accused of sex crimes and their victims? Before Me Too, there was Chris Brown and Rihanna. A study was done to find out how their domestic violence case was portrayed in the media. They found that articles had an anti-violence rhetoric, but ultimately, half of them presented intimate partner violence as erotic, normal, romantic, or the victim's fault. Anita Hill and Clarence Thomas came even earlier. Hill was criticized for not speaking up sooner, and African Americans didn't support her because it would impede the first African American judge from being on the Supreme Court. These cases show intimate partner violence is impersonal. The way media portrays these cases reflects ourselves. I used Harvey Weinstein and Aziz Ansari for my research. Weinstein was what started this movement, and Ansari came at a point when people began to question the Me Too movement. I used articles from October 5th, 2017, the date the New York Times article was published, to December 31st, 2019. Weinstein's articles were all somewhat similar. The most common theme was that the media knew. They knew about Weinstein, they knew about Spacey, and they knew about Cosby. Weinstein's victims are what began this movement, but they weren't really talked about. The first article in my data acknowledged that as articles progressed, they were forgotten. It no longer became about them, but rather all victims of Me Too. Other common themes were the effects of Me Too, such as speaking up and recognition that more needed to be done. They also recognized the influence Weinstein had in Hollywood. For Ansari's articles, there was a larger discussion of what is or isn't sexual assault. Of my 16 articles, 9 of them had opinions. 6 of them believed it was sexual assault, and 3 believed it wasn't. These articles discussed sexual coercion and victim blaming. Although some articles believed this case was too small to be Me Too worthy, there was an underlying need to define consent. Some articles claimed Grace said no and did multiple things to imply she wasn't interested, and that should be enough. Other articles said Ansari isn't a mind reader and she expected too much from him. In his apology to her the next day, he says he didn't realize that was how she felt, and that should be enough. There was no need to come forward because he apologized and it was small compared to the other Me Too accusations. Articles which believe it should still be reported use sexual assault and harassment in the workplace. Some things which happen in the workplace can be considered small, but they still get reported. The most common theme in Ansari's articles was how it would impact his career. Grace, Ansari's victim, was criticized for coming forward because she didn't consider how it could destroy his career. From my overall research, I found people wanting to have a longer discussion on sexual assault and harassment. Articles were quick to condemn Weinstein and accept his allegations, but when they became about Ansari, they became more hesitant to establish who was at fault. Weinstein's victims were praised for speaking out, while Ansari's was criticized for jeopardizing his career. Overall, a larger discussion needs to take place to make people more comfortable about speaking up and talking about consent. My recommendations for how the media should behave is that it should ideally stop acting as a courtroom. They shouldn't pass judgment because they're not qualified. If they would like to seek judgment, they should talk to a professional. If they would like to pass their own judgment, they should consider both sides before writing an article.